Welcome to AI Neurobeat, where emotions meet AI, and every story leaves a mark deeper than pixels. Today's tale isn't just about paint and walls, it's about love, betrayal, and revenge, the kind that doesn't scream, but echoes forever. Some homes speak with silence. Others, through color. But this one told fairy tales on every wall. This isn't just a story about revenge. It's about love, betrayal, and poetic justice painted in the saddest shade of grey. Let me take you to a quiet neighborhood where a woman, let's call her Miss Eleanor, had been living peacefully in a small cottage-style home since the mid-1980s. The outside. Modest. But inside. Oh, it was a wonderland. Every wall was hand-painted Disney stories, magical forests, starry skies, fairytale castles. Not printed wallpapers. Not decals. Every inch was a labor of love, painted by Eleanor herself, an ex-art teacher and later the proud owner of a paint and wine art business. Her life was art, and her home. Her canvas. Neighbors adored her. Even those who clashed with her at first, including the storyteller, eventually came to respect her spirit, kindness, and the quiet magic she brought to the street. But life isn't a fairy tale, and villains often wear the faces of family. The original landlord, a kind man who had promised Eleanor that the home would one day be hers, passed away. And with his death, everything changed. His children inherited the property. Cold. Corporate. Detached. One day, one of the sons showed up with his daughter. The moment the girl stepped inside, she was enchanted. She wanted the art house. Not a house, this one. The one Eleanor had poured her soul into. There was no lease. No legal claim. Just decades of trust. And just like that, Eleanor was being evicted from her sanctuary. Because someone else wanted the fairy tale without the fairy who painted it. She fought. She begged. But paper speaks louder than paint in the eyes of the law. Eleanor was heartbroken. Imagine watching your life's work, the very essence of who you are, being taken, not because you did anything wrong, but because someone with more power wanted what you had created. But fate wasn't done writing her story. At the last minute, Eleanor found a new home in another state, one with a full art studio on the first floor. A fresh start. A blank canvas. But first, she had one final act to complete. Eleanor's close friend, an expert painter, offered to prepare the house for its new residents. Free of charge. He called it restoring it to Rebecca standards. Now, for context. Rebecca standard is what they jokingly call flipper houses, bland, soulless cookie-cutter renovations with lifeless grey tones and cheap laminate. Eleanor agreed. And oh, did they deliver. They cleared the house out in just 1 week. Every brushstroke, every memory, removed. The vibrant murals, sanded down to patches of colorless sorrow. The friend used a heavy-duty sprayer to blast White Kills primer over everything. And then came the grey. Not a rich, moody grey. No. The kind of dead, depressing grey you see in abandoned office buildings. He didn't stop at the walls, he painted the wooden trim, the outlets, the cabinets. Everything. Drained of warmth. Emptied of joy. The fairy tale was dead. And the outside. Eleanor made one last deal, offering her garden bushes to the landscaper in exchange for one job. Remove the charming cottage facade, without damaging it. And he did. Then, he filled the space with gravel, sand, and a single, lonely boulder. From the outside, the house looked like a barren desert. On the inside, a clinical ghost town. Weeks passed. No moving trucks. No daughter moving in. Then one day, a neighbor saw a U-Haul parked outside, but it was never unloaded. And just like that, it was gone. The girl who had fallen in love with the fairy tale had arrived, only to find a dead, grey shell. No magic. No murals. No Eleanor. The house she wanted so badly was nothing like she remembered. Revenge doesn't always need fire or fury. Sometimes, it's just a quiet stroke of irony, painted in the same dull grey they wanted so badly. Miss Eleanor lost her home. But she never lost her art. She started again with dignity, grace, and an entire art studio ready for the next masterpiece. And the girl who stole her dream? She ended up with walls that whispered nothing but regret. This was AI Neurobeat, where AI meets human emotion, and every story becomes a brushstroke on the soul. If this tale touched you, there's 1,000 more waiting. Subscribe, feel, and remember, some stories aren't just heard. They're felt.